All right, folks, we are officially live. Welcome to my weekly Sunday live stream where I answer your questions. Thanks so much for being here as always. I really do appreciate it. And thank you so much for all the support. The views and these videos that I've been posting as of late have just been doing really well. And a lot of people have really been enjoying them. And I've been getting a lot of emails from people from all over the world, it's just amazing. So I'm really thankful for all the support out there. So thanks so much for joining me here, and I really do appreciate it. I always really look forward to doing these live streams. It's really cool. We normally get a lot of familiar names and a lot of people that I recognize here that join me all the time, whether they watch my videos or they join up here on these live streams. So always really fun to see everybody and connect with everybody. But I thought I would title this, and talk a little bit about my 1963 Gibson Les Paul. It's actually a SG as we know it, but in 63 it technically would be called actually a Les Paul. But I just got this guitar back, and I am just so happy with it. It has just been incredible. I just got it back yesterday, and I cannot stop playing it. I mean, it's just so addicting to play. I got it refretted, and the bridge pickup needed to be rewound, and the guitar had a set of Grovers on there, so I took those off and had the original set of Clousons, which were in the case, installed back on the guitar, and it's just made such a huge difference in that guitar. It has just been incredible. So I'll definitely talk about that throughout the stream here at some point. I guess it just kind of depends on how many questions I have here in today's stream, as far as when I go to grab that guitar. But I thought I would just kind of catch up a little bit here and just kind of talk about the week here on the channel. Like I was saying, I've been posting a bunch of videos as of late, and they've been performing really well. So again, thank you so much for watching all of this stuff. My latest video, I was talking about that Fender Road-Worn Telecaster, which is just a really fantastic instrument. I think for the money, it is just an incredible instrument. And, there's a lot of these boutique builders out there that, charge just so much money for their tele builds. And they're not really building anything. They're really just buying these necks and buying these bodies. And then, maybe they'll shape the neck up a little bit and they'll relic the guitar out by taking some keys or some chains to it. And they'll relic the guitar to make it look like as if it was from the 60s or something. But I just think so much of that stuff, it's just such a scam. And I would much rather have one of those Fender Road-Worn Telecasters. I think they are fantastic instruments for the money, and they sound great. You don't have to modify anything with that guitar. You can leave it totally stock if you wanted, and it will work. It'll sound fine. It's just, for me, my preference, I prefer to, have these old pickups and these old pots and these old caps. It just makes such a huge difference in the overall tone of these guitars. And, that's what I would do to that guitar. So that's all I was recommending in my video to do with that guitar. But stock, it really does work well. I just think that it is such a scam, with what these tele builders pull over people. They really hype it up, and they really talk a lot of shit about how great that their tele builds are. But again, they're really just buying these bodies already pre-made for them. And, the necks are already pre-made. Maybe they'll do some shaping to it, to the actual neck itself. And then from there, they just take keys and chains to the guitar and they relic it out. And then the instrument all of a sudden costs, $3,000 or $4,000, where it's really costing them probably a couple $100 to assemble this thing, And that's why you see so many of these guys building a Tele or a Strat, right? Because it's a very simple design. It's a lot harder to make a 335 style guitar or a Les Paul or even an SG, and this is why you don't really see a lot of builders trying to attempt those designs, because they are very difficult, especially a 335. When it comes to a Strat or a Tele, it's a lot easier to build something like this. And these people can make a lot of money by scamming people, and charging $3,000 or $4,000 for these bullshit Tele builds or these bullshit Strat builds, when really you could just get a Fender Road-Worn for $1,000 or $1,100, and that instrument will absolutely destroy these boutique builds. But let's see here. We have Godson in the house. Hey, bro, what's going on, man? Nice to see you. Says here, good morning, Justin. How was Thanksgiving? It was good, man. I just chilled out, man. Just hung out here in Nashville, and didn't really do very much. So yeah, just kind of hung out here. Hope your Thanksgiving was good as well. But he also says here, I wish those road worn tellies had rosewood. I would get one. Yeah, definitely. I do too. The rosewood board is definitely nice. To me, I prefer a rosewood board with a Telecaster or even a Strat. But it just kind of is what it is. I mean, they made them with the maple boards, and then I think a little bit later on they were using another board. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head what it was, but it wasn't rosewood, and it's a very different sound, and I don't like the feel of that board at all. So really for me, I mean, it's all about rosewood or maple. I would prefer rosewood, but I do kind of like maple. It's okay on a Tele or a Strat, but definitely rosewood for me. It's a tone thing and also just a feel thing on the fretboard there for sure. So I totally agree. But yeah, they are very good instruments, man. I think for the money, you cannot go wrong with those. I mean, I think they are just amazing instruments, and they are just a steal. And again, when you're comparing an instrument like this to these boutique Tele builds for $3,000 or $4,000, I mean, I would much rather have that road worn Tele. So it's much, much better. And once again, I think that with a couple of modifications, just for me personally, that's what I would do. Is I would take out the pickups, put in some old, single coils from the 60s or something, and change out the pots and the caps with, whether they're 50s or 60s pots and caps. And I think you would have one hell of an instrument with those simple modifications, Of course, the parts are going to be pretty expensive, but man, it's, it will make a tremendous, tremendous difference in the tone of that guitar. But let's see here. We have, I'm not even going to attempt to say that name. But thanks so much for being here, man. Really appreciate it. He says here, hi, Justin. I had a 2010 Road-Worn Blonde Tele. Awesome, awesome guitar. One of the best Teles I ever had. Awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, they're great instruments. I think, again, for the money, they are phenomenal. I think they are amazing instruments. If you did a couple little modifications, I think personally, just for me and what I like, it could really transform the guitar. But yeah, I totally agree. I think for the money, they are absolutely amazing. And I think that guitar would go up against any custom shop Tele. It would go up against any boutique build and absolutely destroy those guitars, honestly, in my opinion. Let's see. Godson says here, have you tried the new Road-Worn Jazzmaster? What do you think about them? I haven't tried those, man. I haven't tried them. I've had this Road-Worn Telecaster for quite some time now at this point, so I've just always held on to it because I just love it so much. And I've always had the idea to modify it and to put in a different set of pickups and the old pots and caps, but I just have not gotten around to it. I've been really busy modifying my Gibson instruments, and I just bought this 63 Les Paul SG that I'm going to share with you guys here in a little bit. But, I just haven't gotten around to it. I think it would be cool, though, for sure, to modify it for sure. I also have that 66 Telecaster, too, which is a great guitar, that's just a Tele, that's just absolutely incredible. I mean, I think it's literally one of the best Telecasters I've ever played. So there's really no point to really spend the money and modify on that Road-Worn, but I think it would be cool for sure, But yeah, I have not tried the Jazzmaster. But let's see here. He says here his name is Peter. Awesome. Thanks so much, Peter. Really appreciate it. Well, let's see here. I'll go ahead and grab that SG real quick. It's over here on my guitar rack. I'll be right back. All right, let's see here. So here it is here. This is my 63 Les Paul, as we know it, the SG. And this guitar needed a lot of work, man. When I got it, it had a lot of oxidation in the finish. I'll show you some photos here in a second of what it was like before. But I, had this cleaned up and polished up, and we were able to get rid of all of that oxidation. It's just an amazing, amazing guitar. The finish looks so much better than it did before. I mean, I don't think this thing had ever been cleaned in its entire life. I mean, it was so disgusting and so dirty. And it probably was sitting outside for many, many years because I got this guitar down in Georgia. And I think that this guitar was really heavily exposed to that Georgia humidity. And that's why there was a lot of this oxidation in the finish. But my guitar tech has this amazing guitar polish that he was able to use. It's a special formula that he uses. I don't know exactly what it is, but he was able to get rid of all of this oxidation in the finish. And this finish is just a night and day difference compared to how it looked when I first got it. I mean, it just looks so much better. And it's just an amazing guitar, When I got this guitar, the frets were also shot, so I had him refret it. And then the bridge pickup was also dead in this guitar. So that was another thing. And I was a little nervous about that because I wasn't really sure how that pickup was going to turn out. But man, he rewound this bridge pickup here, and it is sounding so good. And, that is something that I wanted to share with people, is that if there has been a pickup that has been rewound in a guitar, don't be scared of that. Like, it's totally okay. As long as it has the original magnets, that's really all that matters in my humble opinion. I think that is what gives these old pickups their distinct tonal characteristic, is really these old magnets. They make such a huge difference. If a pickup has been rewound, it's actually okay because, especially if you're the one doing it or having it done, you can actually set it up to whatever output that you want it to be. And for me, I have a very particular output that I like with these patent number pickups in particular. And so I just had him, rewind this pickup to the exact output that I wanted. So that's kind of the thing that is kind of cool with actually rewinding a pickup. But this thing is sounding absolutely amazing. It sounds so good. It's matched up with the neck pickup here. And you can see here, obviously, the cover is off. And that does change the tone a little bit, and I really like it. I really like the look of this. The bridge pickup with no cover and also the neck pickup with the cover. Now, this guitar did not have the original cover with it, but it had literally everything else with it. So what I also had done was I also had the Clousons put back on there, and that was inside the case there. This guitar had a set of Grovers on there, which is totally non-invasive, because the Grovers just use one screw on the back here, and the Clousons just use two. So the Grovers just simply screw into the very bottom screw hole, so you don't have to drill, extra holes into the back of the headstock or whatever. You just simply take out the screw, you put the Clouson back in, and you screw in two screws that are already from the original, holes, obviously. So it's totally non-invasive, and the Clousons make such a huge difference in the overall acoustic sound of this guitar. And it feels so much better. It sounds so much better with the Clousons on there, man. It's so much louder and brighter and punchier in comparison to those Grovers. The Grovers just really kill a lot of the acoustic tone, and especially these old Clousons. I mean, they just make such a huge difference. So I was so happy to get this back on there. So that's all right. That's all original. The bridge pickup has been rewound. Now I also put on a Faber ABR1, which I need to slot this high E string just a little bit more because it's just not sustaining as well up here on the board. But that's not a big deal. Once the string is sitting right in the saddle, it'll be perfect. But outside of that, this guitar is just 100% perfect, man. It feels great. The neck carve and the neck profile on this thing is what really sold me on it to begin with when I was first looking at this guitar. it's just a special neck, man. The 63, 64 neck profile is just one of the best for the SG especially. It's just an amazing profile. So that's what really sold me on this guitar to begin with, but I am just so happy with how great that this guitar came out, man. It is just a motherfucker. I love playing it. I just cannot put it down, man. It's just amazing. With the new frets, the bridge pickup being rewound, the Clouson's back on there. Man, this guitar is just a ripper. It's just amazing. And, at the time when I was buying this guitar, I was a little unsure, but I just knew it had potential. I knew from the neck profile and just the way it felt, I just knew it had a lot of potential there. It just needed just a little bit of love, and I love bringing these instruments back to life. This is just a huge passion of mine. I just love doing this stuff. And man, this guitar just came out so good. I am so happy with it. So I just wanted to share that and just talk a little bit about it. But again, this is a 63 Les Paul technically, but it's obviously an SG as we know it today. But let's see here. Godson says here, and now we are talking a keeper. Yeah, definitely, man. It's a great guitar. I mean, I actually have somebody already interested in buying this guitar, but I don't know if I can let it go, man. Honestly, it's just such a great instrument. It feels so good, man, especially after the fret job and this bridge pickup being rewound and stuff. I mean, it's just an amazing guitar. I cannot put it down. And if you guys want to hear it too, by the way, I just posted a YouTube short that is on my channel, so go and check that out if you haven't already. I was just playing some solo guitar on that video, but you can hear this guitar in action. And I would play it here on the live stream, but I just don't really have the setup to be able to do this for this live stream. With having the live mic going, it's just really difficult to run another amplifier and mic that up, because it's obviously going to bleed into my live mic that I'm talking into right now. So that's really why I don't really play on these live streams, but I'm going to try to find a solution for this. I want to try to get some kind of like an amp modeler or something that I can plug into. My interface does have something, but I just hate the tone on that thing so much. It just sounds so bad that I just don't even really like to play on these live streams, because the tone is just so terrible off the interface, So go and check out that short if you want to hear this guitar. I think that video I posted sounds awesome. So let's see. Godson says here, any recommendations for rewinding a pickup? What do you mean recommendations? I mean, it's really just rewinding this pickup, I mean, you obviously want to keep it as original as you possibly can. So, you don't want to like desolder the connection to the volume pot there or nothing. So like my tech actually just did it right here on the actual pickup itself. He didn't have to desolder anything or modify anything. So that's something that I would definitely recommend. But yeah, I mean, it's really not that big of a deal. I think a lot of people kind of like freak out if a pickup has been rewound, but it really doesn't matter. Once again, it's ultimately all about the magnets. And that's why I always talk about, these old magnets and how special that they are, because, I have played many guitars that have had the pickups rewound, but it still has the original magnets and it still sounds phenomenal. And what is kind of cool with rewinding a pickup is that you can get it to the exact output that you actually want it to be, like I was saying. So that's the thing that's really cool with this. So I was able to get it exactly to where I wanted it. Whereas, if you just had these pickups stock and it wasn't rewound, I mean, this pickup is all original. It's never been rewound or nothing. But this pickup I had to rewind because, there was so much oxidation, again, in the finish and underneath this pickup. It just stopped working, So it just needed to be rewound, and I am so happy with it. And again, I was able to get it to the exact output that I wanted it to be. So this is just awesome. I'm just so happy with how this came out, once again. But let's see. Godson says, block that guy. Oh, man. Nah, I can't block him. Let's see. And then he also says here, I meant a company to rewind. Man, I don't really have I don't really have any recommendations for that. I just have my tech, I just had him do it, So, I don't really have any experience with very many companies doing this, to be honest with you. Once again, it's really all about just these old magnets and, finding somebody competent to actually do this, That is a thing. I mean, there's a lot of hacks that work on this stuff that are in this business, so you really have to find somebody that is really legit. But I'm just lucky here, in Nashville. I have, access to some of the best luthiers, some of the best repairmen in the world, So I just have a particular guy that I just swear by. I think he's one of the best that I've ever worked with. I've worked with all the big names here in Nashville as far as the guitar repair, but I think a lot of those guys are really hyped up, to be honest. I think there's a lot of hyped up BS with a lot of these guys, and I am so happy that I have found this guy that works on all my instruments, because I think he is one of the best for sure. Let's see. Rocket Flash is in the house. Hey man, what's going on? Thanks so much for being here. He says here, your use of finger apostrophes is distracting, but I love the guitar. I have no idea what you're talking about, but okay. If it's distracting, don't watch. Get the hell out of here. Let's see. Peter says here, love the Vibrola and the Clousons. Awesome year. Yeah, it is, man. Thank you. It's a great year for sure for the SG. I think, 63, 64 is just one of the best. I mean, it's this year, well, really the 2 years, I think for the SG is just absolutely amazing, Again, the neck profile is absolutely perfect. The Vibrola is just absolutely perfect. With the ABR here being directly into the wood, that makes a difference. The patent number pickups, I absolutely love these, as I've talked about many times here on this channel. I think these patent number pickups are just incredible sounding. It may be controversial to say, but I actually think that these pickups sound better than a lot of long magnet PAF pickups, which is what would be in like a Burst or in a Gold Top or something like this, And, again, it is definitely controversial to say this, because these guitars are, $200, $300, $500,000, something like this. But I tell you, man, I think these pad numbers and the short magnet PAFs are so consistent. It's like, I know what they're going to do and I know what they're going to sound like. As long as there is certain output that I like, I know it's going to sound good. Whereas, those long magnet PAFs, they're really all over the place, It's just, it really is just kind of all over the place. I mean, there's some of them that I've played that have a lot of low end, and they're way too hot, and they just don't sound very good. And, these pad numbers, again, they're just very consistent. I think with the PAFs, there are some that sound absolutely amazing, I think. They sound incredible. But a lot of them don't sound very good, honestly. Like, man, I had this 59 335 that I was checking out, and the neck pickup on that thing sounded so bad. It was crazy, man. And, there's actually another YouTuber that ended up with that guitar I seen on my feed, which is cool. I'm glad that, it seems like he's enjoying it. But I just thought that neck pickup was just really rough sounding in that guitar. But, that guitar is like a, crazy amount of money. I mean, I think they were asking like $50K on it, and the neck has been totally reshot. It's been all refinished. I mean, there's a lot of excuses with that guitar. So, I ended up passing on it because of that, and also the neck pickup didn't sound very good. But anyways, where I'm just going with this is that, again, the patent numbers I just love, and I think they sound excellent. And they're very consistent. I think they're a lot better than the majority of the long magnet PAFs. Don't get me wrong, there are some that sound very good. They're the holy grail, the ultimate. But I think there are a lot of them that do not sound very good. But thanks so much for the comment, man. Really do appreciate it. And let's see here. Godson says here, the setup you used for your last Instagram post would work for your live stream. I think it sounded great and would love to hear you playing in these shows. Okay, yeah. I mean, I'll definitely try that for the next stream. Maybe I could even just set up the amplifier and just use the camera audio, or even if it's just this live mic is just picking up the amp tone in the room. Maybe that would work all right. So I'll try to experiment with this and see. But it's just one of those things. It's like this interface that I use for this. I just hate the amp modeling, and it just sounds so bad. I just don't want to play it at all, honestly. But I'll definitely give that a shot for sure. But yeah, so very cool. 63 SG, well, really a Les Paul, but SG as we all know it. And I'm just so happy with this guitar, man. It's just awesome. And, this guitar is a little more of a player. It's not really like a collector piece. But, I really like guitars like this, because you can take them out, you can play the shit out of them, you can tour with them, you can travel with them. And, I'm not scared to play this thing. There are some guitars that I have that are collector grade condition. They're 100% original. They are mint condition. They're, just absolutely perfect. And it's like, whenever I go in to play an instrument like this, I almost feel like I shouldn't be playing it because it is so clean and it's so perfect. And what I love about a guitar like this is that, once again, it is a player. So, man, you can take this thing out and just throw a guitar strap on, and just rock out and play the shit out of this thing, and you don't have to worry about it. And that's kind of the thing with all of this stuff, with the vintage guitars and everything. You really have to ask yourself, are you a player or are you a collector? And you really have to sit down and really figure out what you are, when you're going in to buy an instrument like this. If you're going to be playing this thing, do you really want something that is collector grade, that is so perfect that you're like scared to play it? You may want something that may have a repair, or maybe is more of a player like this guitar, again, where it's not totally mint condition. It's not absolutely perfect, I mean, this thing has been played for many years. I mean, this guitar in general is in very good condition. There's no repairs. It's really solid. Everything is right with it. But, there's a couple things. Obviously, the bridge pickup's been rewound. It's been refretted. I put on the Clousons again. It had a set of Grovers, but there was no additional holes drilled in the back of the headstock, so that's totally okay. And, once again, it's just not a collector piece, really. I mean, yes, it is a rare guitar, and it is, in very good condition, really. There's never been a repair or nothing. But this guitar is a little bit more of a player, once again. And again, you're not scared to take this thing out. Whereas, my other 64 SG is literally in collector grade condition. It is 100% perfect. So it's like sometimes I'll play that guitar and I'm almost a little scared to play it because it's just so perfect. So it's like, man, I kind of just want to leave it in the case, and I don't want to ding it or take the chance of hitting it on something or whatever, Whereas this, again, you can take it out and really play it and really enjoy it. So again, you really have to ask yourself, are you a player or are you a collector? And, I got this from Joe Bonamassa, and I totally agree with him on this, I think that is so true when it comes to buying these vintage guitars, That question is really, really important to be definitely thinking about. But let's see here. Godson says here, how would you compare with your other 64? They're both very good. I love both of them, man. I don't have a favorite. I think the neck profile on the 64 is just a little bit different. The transition is just a little bit different in comparison to the 63. But this guitar is a later 63, so it has all 64 spec, has the nickel parts, the headstock angle, the vibrola, all of this stuff, and even the pots, they are later into 63. This guitar is definitely a 63, but it's just, the neck is just a little bit different. I feel like the transition is a little bit tighter on the, just the transition from the neck to the board in comparison to the 64, but the 64 is very similar. It's very close. So I don't know, man. They're both very good. I love both of them. I think the pickups sound very good in these guitars. It has that distinct mid-range thing that you get from these SGs. And, I tell you, man, like, I've been comparing this guitar to my reissue Pelham Blue SG. And it's just a night and day difference, man. It's just that Pelham Blue SG, man. Like, it's good. I've modified the hell out of that thing, and I've made it as good as I can possibly get it. But I just think that this neck carve from the '60s, man, and this Brazilian board, and the new frets, and the pad number pickups, and the old pots and the caps, it's just special, man. It's just such a different tone. It feels so much better to play, man, in comparison to that reissue Pelham Blue, man. It's just night and day. So I don't know, man. I may try to sell that Pelham Blue, and maybe I'll just hang on to this, because this is just such an excellent guitar, man. It's just incredible. Perfect weight. You get that distinct mid-rangey thing that you get from the SGs, It's just magical, man. It's just an amazing instrument. It's so inspiring to play. And once again, I knew this thing had a lot of potential when I was looking at it initially. But once again, it just needed some love. The bridge pickup just needed to be rewound. It needed to be refretted, and the cloisons needed to be back on there. And I knew, man, once that was done, this was going to be one badass guitar. So I'm really happy I ended up with this thing. Just plays and sounds amazing. And let's see here. We have JPS in the house. Hey, man, what's going on? Thanks so much for being here. Says here, nice guitar, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's a beautiful 63 SG. Well, really a Les Paul, but SG as we know it. And it's just the perfect neck on this thing, man. The neck is just absolutely dead on with this thing. It just feels so good to play. And so I'm really, really happy with it. But thanks so much, everybody, for being here. I really do appreciate it. If you guys have any other questions for me, feel free to leave it there in the chat box. I'd be happy to answer. These live streams are all about you guys, and whatever you guys want to get out of these, so any questions you guys have, I'd be happy to answer. If you guys would like to support me and you would like to contribute to this channel, check out all of the links that I have down below in the description box. There are many ways you can support me here on this channel, and these live streams and these videos are truly a donation of time. So I truly do need your support to continue on doing these videos and doing this channel and doing these live streams. So again, any and all support is really appreciated. If you want to throw a little love in the Venmo tip jar or the PayPal tip jar, or even a super chat here in today's live stream, again, any and all support is really appreciated because, again, this is truly a donation of time. I make absolutely nothing on these live streams. I just donate my time because I really appreciate everybody watching my videos so much. These videos have just been doing so well as of late. It's just been absolutely incredible. And I just love this community so much. So that's also why I do this as a donation of time. I just really enjoy it. And so it's been really cool to make so many new friends and see a lot of familiar names on here. So, it's just been awesome and super rewarding. But at the end of the day, I am not making anything off of these live streams. So again, any and all support is really appreciated there. I do want to take the time to mention that I do offer one-on-one online lessons. I'm teaching people from all over the world. And what's so cool with these lessons is that you'll actually get a recorded copy of the lesson itself at the very end. So you get to simply download the lesson and rewatch it over and over and over again. And you can actually really retain all of the information that I give out within these lessons. You could always go back and rewatch the video. And I think it is actually better than actually doing a real in-person lesson, like physically right next to each other, because of this, because of the platform. And you're actually seeing and hearing the exact setup that I use for these online lessons. So if you are interested, hit me up at jkm4231@gmail.com. That is my personal email. I'd be happy to get you some more information on this and get you down in the books today. Thanks so much for listening. Really do appreciate it. Stumbling on my words there a little bit there at the end. But yeah, if you guys have any questions for me, feel free to leave it there in the chat box. I'd be happy to answer. I'm just kind of hanging out here once again, checking out this 63 Les Paul. Technically, it is an SG. And I just love it, man. This guitar came out so good. It's just a night and day difference compared to how it was when I first got it. I mean, this finish was so heavily oxidized. It was just disgusting. I mean, I don't think this guitar had ever been cleaned since, the person bought it brand new. But, it's actually really cool. This guitar was a one-owner guitar, and I actually have the original photo of the original owner back in January of 1964 when he first bought this guitar brand new. And I thought that was really cool. And the original owner really took great care of this thing. All of the original parts were all inside the case there. And, this person really, really cared about this guitar and really took care of it, but definitely played the shit out of this thing, that's for sure. This guitar is definitely a player, but again, what is great with a guitar like this is that you could take it out, you can play it, you don't have to worry about, dinging it up or, if something happens to it. I mean, obviously, I would be devastated, if somebody walked off with it or somebody did something stupid with this, but, it's just one of these guitars that you don't really have to worry about as much as like a collector grade guitar, because like my 64 SG, I'm literally scared to play that thing, man, honestly. I mean, it is just in perfect condition, and I'm just honestly scared to play it because it's so perfect, and I don't want anything happening to the condition of that guitar. So I guess with that guitar, I'm definitely in the mindset of a collector, but with this guitar, I'm more in the mindset of being a player. And so that's why, once again, you really do have to ask yourself if you're a player or are you a collector, when you're going in to buy these vintage guitars, For me, I love playing these instruments. I think these Gibson instruments, especially pre-65, are the greatest of all time. I think the necks on them, the pickups, just the build, just absolutely everything about them, man. It is just the holy grail. It's the ultimate instrument. I mean, there's just nothing better. And, I think what a lot of people don't understand with these vintage guitars, especially like novice players or a lot of the YouTubers that you see here on YouTube that are novice players, they just don't understand, the inspiration that you get from these instruments, and they will never understand this, right? Because they are not good players. They don't know what good tone is. They don't know what the inspiration is like that you get from these vintage instruments, and that is the thing with these vintage guitars. Every time I pick up this SG, I'm inspired to play. I play something a little bit differently, or my ear is hearing something a bit different that, I'm just hearing in general. So it inspires me to play stuff differently, and that is why, to me, I just love these vintage guitars. I think the old magnets, there's just nothing like them. The Brazilian rosewood, when you fret a note here on the fretboard, there's a certain tone and there's a certain feel that you get from this Brazilian rosewood. I don't know what it is, man, but it is different in comparison to standard rosewood. It just is. And all of these little details will inspire you to play stuff differently. It's just a huge thing, man. And, the old wood and how dried out it is, and the Brazilian rosewood, again, the tone, the feel of it, the old magnets, the old pots, all of this stuff, it just makes such a huge difference, and, that's what a lot of novice players just don't understand. They don't understand that inspiration that you get from these old guitars. There's just something about it, man. The tone of it is significantly better, and just the whole experience when you hold this guitar, you smell that old smell, you fret the note here on the Brazilian rosewood, and it just feels a certain way, man. And that inspiration is just really what everybody is after as a musician. Professional musicians are always trying to find that inspiration, whether it's from a new instrument, if it's from a new pedal, if it's from a new, amplifier, whatever it is, people are always looking for that inspiration. So that's really what it's all about, is that inspiration. Oh, man. But yeah, folks, just hanging out here, Sunday live stream. Thanks so much for being here. Really do appreciate it. If you guys have any questions for me, feel free to leave it there in the chat box. I'd be happy to answer. Once again, I really do appreciate everybody being here. It really means the world to me. We're just sitting here checking out this great 63 Les Paul, the SG as we all know it. But this is just an amazing guitar. It feels great to play here, and man, the Brazilian board and just this neck in general is just absolutely amazing. I definitely would play it some on the live stream, but I just don't really have the setup to be able to use a live amp and run my live mic at the same time. So, and I don't like using the direct solution off of my interface because it just does not sound good at all. I mean, it is absolutely terrible. But if you do want to hear this guitar, go and check out my latest short. I just posted a YouTube short last night of me playing this guitar, and man, it just sounds amazing. So go and check that out. But let's see here. We have Gregor64 in the house. Hey, man, what's going on? Thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Says here, I have a 63 SG2. Love my SG. That's awesome, man. Great. Glad you're enjoying it. That's a great year for the SG, man. I think 63 and 64, man, is just, it is the ideal year for the SG. I mean, the neck profile is absolutely amazing. The vibrola is much, much better than the sideways vibrola. And, man, I just love these pad number pickups. I just think, 63 to 64, it's definitely the year for the SG. It's so much better than the other years from the SG. And Gregor agrees and says, "Yep, thanks so much, man. Appreciate it. Glad you're enjoying it." And it's funny, man, because I always love, growing up when I was learning how to play, and teaching myself, and practicing, I always loved Les Pauls. I always thought Les Pauls were amazing, and it was just my favorite guitar by far. But as I've gotten older and I've gotten more experience, there is something about these SGs, man. There is that additional mid-range that you get. There's something about it with these guitars that I just absolutely love. I think the tone of these guitars are just amazing. Les Pauls sometimes can be a little boomy and have a little too much low end. But, these SGs never do, man. They always have additional mid-range. They just sound killer, man. I mean, no matter what amp you plug them up into, no matter what pedal you use, you get that additional mid-range. And mid-range as a guitar player is really your friend. It's really what you want, is that additional mid-range to get this guitar to sit right within a mix. And I just love that about these guitars. And I don't know, man, I do this dance like, do I prefer Les Pauls or do I prefer SGs? I really go back and forth on it. I love both these guitars so much, but I don't know. I just love the SG. I think, it is definitely one of my favorite guitars, so I kind of go back and forth of what I like, either my favorite is either a Les Paul or my favorite's an SG, and I don't know. I love both of them. I love Gibson guitars in general, though. I love a 335. I love my 330 that I have. It's just a sickness, man. I love all vintage Gibsons, pre-65 especially. There are some that are not great, but there are a lot of them that are so inspiring and just sound so good. There's just nothing like them. But let's see here. He also says here, love your channel. Thank you, man. Really appreciate that. Thanks for watching. He also says here, the neck is amazing also. Yeah, definitely. I mean, the profile on the 63, 64 SGs are just absolutely incredible. And that's what really sold me on this guitar, was that neck profile. I mean, this 63 profile and this particular neck, man, I just was like, wow, man, it feels so good. I've also got a 64 that's 100% original. It's collector grade condition. I can actually grab that one too. But it is a little bit different. The profile in the 64 compared to the 63, it's just a little bit different. The transition is a little different on that guitar, but I still love it. 64, again, that profile is just amazing. But man, I just got this guitar refretted. I was talking a little bit about it a little bit ago here in today's live stream. I don't know if you're just joining me. But, I got this guitar refretted. I had the bridge pickup rewound. And then this guitar also had a set of Grovers on there. So I just took those off and put the original Clousons back on, and man, it's just made a world of difference. And people think that I'm crazy for thinking that the tuners make a difference in the acoustic sound of the guitar, but I'm telling you, man, just simply compare a set of Grovers to a set of Clousons. It is a night and day difference, man. It makes such a huge difference, and these old Clousons just sound so much better. They are so much better than Grovers. The Grovers just really kill a lot of the acoustic tone, and that's just what I hear, man. I mean, it's just so different, and I was so happy to get these back on here, man. It just made such a difference, and this guitar I got down in Georgia, it was so heavily oxidized. I should actually try to find a photo of this here. Let's see here. I'll pull it up so I can show you guys what this thing looked like before. I mean, it was just so disgusting. Okay. Here's a shot of, let's see. Here we go. All right, so this was the guitar at first. Try to get this to focus in. There we go. It's going to be kind of hard to tell on the camera here, but if you look up close, I mean, there was so much oxidation in the finish, man. It was just nasty, and it had not been cleaned in a very long time. But especially like on the back here, like look at this oxidation here. You can really see that. It's a little tough to see it in the camera there, but there was just oxidation just all over this guitar, man. It was just nasty. And, my guitar tech has this amazing polish that is this mixture of like 7 different spirits, and he was able to get rid of all of that oxidation and just got this finish just looking amazing, man. So it's really cool, man. It came out so good. And, with these new frets, with the bridge pickup being rewound and these tuners back on, it's just a night and day difference, man. It has made such a huge difference with, this guitar, man. It sounds and plays amazing. It's so inspiring to play now. And it's just a huge passion of mine, to bring these guitars back to life. And this guitar, I knew it had so much potential. It just needed a little bit of love, to really get it right. So, really, really happy with how this turned out. And Gregor says here, the bridge pickup screams. Yeah, man, it really does. At first with this guitar, the bridge pickup was really weak sounding. And again, with all the oxidation, there had been a lot of oxidation that was underneath the pickup. And it ended up just killing the pickup. It just didn't work hardly like at all. So I had it rewound. And man, it is just amazing sounding now. I mean, it's just, again, night and day difference. So just so happy with how that came out. And we have CZ in the house. Hey, what's going on, CZ? Thanks so much for being here. She says here, Justin with a heart emoji. Thanks so much for being here, CZ. Really appreciate it. Another very loyal supporter there. Let's see. Where the hell? Here we go. I was right here. Gregor says here, mine didn't come with the tuners, mine were Grovers. Yeah, so that would be changed, and this guitar had a set of Grovers on there, but that's not that big of a deal because it's very easy to reverse because the Grovers just simply screw on with one screw on the very bottom of the tuner hole here. So there's 2 holes for the Clousons. There's a top screw and a bottom screw. The Grovers just screw into the bottom screw, so it's all good. You can easily take them out and find a set of old Clousons like this. You're going to want, in particular, the double ring with the single line Clouson Deluxe on the back. So I'll try to get a close-up. Maybe you can see that, if it'll actually focus in. Maybe not. But you can see here on the tuner, there's 2 rings. So that would mean a double ring. And then on the back of the headstock here, you'll see it say Clouson Deluxe. You just want that to be a single line. So the whole word, the whole Clouson Deluxe, it would just be in a single line, and then the tip here would be double ring. So double ring, single line Clouson Deluxe tuners would be original to this guitar, 63 and 64 SGs. And I really recommend it, man. I tell you, like, that will really transform the sound of this guitar, man. It is crazy how much different it is. You know, I don't like Grovers at all, man. Honestly, they just kill so much of the tone, man. It's so different, and you know, I definitely recommend it for sure. So, I actually have a Pelham Blue reissue SG that has these tuners that are original tuners from a 64 SG. And with that guitar, I was trying to get it as close as I could to a real 64 SG with all the parts. So the patent number pickups, I found a 63 wiring harness, and then I also found the original tuners. I'm probably going to sell that guitar now, honestly, because of this. But that's a very good guitar, you know. For a reissue guitar, it is very good. I just did all of my modifications to it. I officially Justinified it, which basically what that means, if you're not familiar with the term Justinify, it's when you take a reissue Gibson and you put in a set of patent number pickups that are a match set. You find a 50s or 60s wiring harness, so the pots and the caps, and then you also change out the tuners to old Clousons, whether they're late 50s or 60s, you know, early 60s Clousons. And with doing these Justinified mods to your reissue guitar, you can really get them to sound much better. So, you know, that's what I've done to all of my reissue guitars to make them sound and actually play right. Because out of the box, man, they were just rough. I mean, it just didn't sound good, and those guitars out of the box just needed a lot of work, man. So kind of crazy, but I do like to have some reissue guitars on hand just for touring, because sometimes I have other people handling my gear where I'm not always in control of where my stuff is, or I don't always have hands or eyes on my own stuff. So, you know, sometimes I don't want to bring out the vintage stuff just because I would be devastated if somebody walked off with it. I mean, I have so many friends of mine that have had instruments stolen. You know, they've had some stagehand, you know, make a mistake, and, you know, the guitar flies off the guitar rack or something and falls over and cracks the headstock or something. So, you know, I just don't want to have to deal with that. So that's why I do bring out the reissues, because they're very easy to replace. But that's really the only reason why I even bother with the reissue stuff, because honestly, the reissue instruments are so bad nowadays. They are just so off. It's just unbelievable. I mean, the neck carve is completely different. The new pickups sound like shit. I think the new pots are just garbage. The taper is totally different. To be honest with you, I don't even know why I really bother with the reissue instruments. And especially for the price, man. I mean, they ask so much money for these reissues, man. It's just nuts. But let's see here. We have here SIUUI8352 in the house. Hey, what's going on? Thanks so much for being here. Says here, hi Justin, would you say that this vintage SG plays better than modern ones? Thanks. Oh, hell yeah, definitely. It is so different, man. I mean, this guitar is so inspiring to play. Again, like I was just talking about, I mean, the neck carve is so different on these old 60s, the pre-65 Gibson instruments, compared to the reissue ones. The biggest thing is the transition from the neck to the board is very different. On the reissue guitars, they're much wider and they're much bigger, and they're so different feeling in comparison to the vintage necks. So that's the first thing. Of course, these guitars all have Brazilian rosewood as well. So when you fret a note here on the fretboard, there's a certain feel and a certain thing to this Brazilian rosewood that is just really addicting to play. And especially with how old that the wood is, you know, it's really dried out, and there's just a certain tone and a certain sound that you get from this old wood here on the body and the fretboard and the neck and stuff. And you know, this Brazilian rosewood, it is a tone thing too. It does make a huge difference compared to the standard rosewood. So, you know, these reissue guitars don't have any Brazilian rosewood. I mean, if they do, they're going to cost like $20K and up. I mean, so it's just kind of silly to spend that kind of money on a reissue guitar when, you know, those instruments are incorrect too, you know. I've talked about it many times here on the channel, but I mean, like the bridge, the ABR1, I'll try to hide this comment so you can see what I'm talking about. Like the ABR1 here, I mean, the material that was used on the thumb wheels and the studs and the ABR on this guitar are completely different from the instruments that they make today. You know, they're totally different. The material is totally different, so that's going to change the tone of the instrument acoustically. So that in turn is going to change the tone of it plugged in, right? Because depending on what this instrument sounds like acoustically, you know, the pickup is obviously going to hear that tone, and then it's just being amplified, right? So that's a huge part of the sound too, is the old material that they used on the ABR and the stop bar for a lot of guitars. This here would be the vibrola, so it is different, but again, the material is different. So it is a different acoustic sound. Now, with the old pickups, what I really feel is so different with these pickups compared to the ones that they make today is that the magnets, there's just something special about these old magnets. I don't know if it's the material. I don't know if it's just throughout the years of these magnets just being demagnetized. I'm not really sure exactly what is up with these old pickups, but it really makes a tremendous difference. You know, it just does. I mean, the old magnets are just everything. And like I was saying earlier, you know, these old pots have a completely different taper in comparison to the new pots. The taper is so different on the new ones, and the caps are also very different. And this is a huge part of the tone as well. You know, it's a combination of these old pickups with the old pots and caps, you know, that really make up this electric guitar tone. So very, very different from the reissue guitars. And this guitar just is, it is so inspiring. It's so good to play. It just blows away any reissue that I have played. But thanks so much for the question. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Gregor says here, trying to find the double rings for mine online. Yeah, they definitely can be hard to find for sure. I've got a set, like I was saying, on that Pelham Blue SG, but I wouldn't want to part that guitar out, you know, I don't think. I think I would just want to sell the whole instrument, you know. I've got, you know, a 64 set on that guitar. I have a set of patent number pickups, like I was saying, and then, you know, a 63 wiring harness on that guitar as well. And it is a very good sounding guitar. I've got to say, for a reissue, it is very good. It's just, you know, the neck carve is a bit different in comparison to the 63 SG. You know, it just is. So, let's see here. We have Olgana LVANOGLU in the house. What's going on? Thanks so much for being here. It says here, I had a modified PRS SE single cut with JB59 Goto tuners, steel frets, and Wilkinson bridge. My second guitar, Fender Strat with Texas Specials. Should I get a Gibson also? Yeah, man. I mean, I think so. You know, I'm not a big fan of the PRS guitars, to be honest. They just don't really sound very good to me. They sound very different in comparison to Gibson guitars, you know. I am a bit biased, you know, because I really only like Fender and Gibson, but those are the only instruments that I have, so I guess you could say I am a bit biased with that. But just the ones that I've played, the PRSs that I've played, they sound very different in comparison to a Les Paul or an SG or a 335. And it's just not my thing. I just don't like the way that those PRSs sound. They're very bright, and you know, they're just very different compared to Gibsons, you know, or Fenders. So I'm just not the biggest fan, to be honest. But I know a lot of players do like them. You know, I mean, they're very lightweight. I could see a guy that's in a cover band or something that needs a lot of versatility. You know, maybe the PRS does make sense for you because it's lighter and, you know, you can have all these different tones. But I just don't like the way that they sound. You know, I would much rather play an SG or a Les Paul. I think tonally those guitars just blow the PRSs out of the water. It's not even a comparison. So let's see here. We have Soldano 0298 in the house. Hey man, what's going on? Thanks so much for being here. Says here, hey Justin, awesome guitar. Thank you, bro. That's awesome, man. Very cool. And He says here, I ordered a J45 standard acoustic from Sweetwater for Black Friday. That's awesome, bro. Hell yeah. Enjoy it, man. That's awesome. Very cool. Yeah, that's actually what I use out on the road. And, it just works, man. I mean, they're affordable. It's crazy how expensive some of these acoustics can be. I mean, I really would like to get a Collings. I think they make some amazing acoustics, but it's just kind of ridiculous how much that they're asking for some of these instruments. It's like, they want like 6-7 grand for one of these, and it doesn't even come with a pickup. So you literally have to install a pickup on top of this. So that's going to be like another $500 or something, So you start adding up all this, and it's just like, Jesus Christ, man. I mean, just for a new acoustic, it's going to cost me like $7,500. Whereas, a J45, man, you could find them brand new for $3 grand or whatever it is, or $2,500 or something, and it just works, man. There's already a pickup installed. It's an acoustic guitar. It's just gonna work, Yeah, is it a '64 Hummingbird or is it a '60s J45 or J50 or something? No, it's definitely not. But it is one of those things, with these new acoustics. What is nice is that it has a pickup. So you don't have to modify a vintage guitar and, put in a, some LR bags or something like this, You can just plug it in and just go, and that's it. So, and it's still very affordable. Let's see. Soldano asks here, what would you plug your J45 into? Good question, man. So normally for my main live acoustic rig, I normally use a J45 standard, of course, and then that goes into a Peterson Strobostomp tuner, which is my favorite tuner. And then I have a Strymon Flint, which is a reverb and a tremolo. And I love tremolo on acoustic guitar. I get hired on for a lot of, country music, obviously. So there's some older country artists that I work for that have tremolo as a part of their music. So I like to be able to have that tremolo on hand, just in case if I'm working with this artist that I need to be able to recreate the sound from the record. And I love tremolo on acoustic guitar. I think it just sounds amazing. And especially that Strymon Flint, man. It is incredible on acoustic. I absolutely love it. The reverb is okay on that thing. I'm not a big reverb guy, but it just works on the Flint, man. I think it's very simple. It just works. It's a simple reverb that just sounds good. It's not anything crazy. It's not the best reverb in the world, but again, it just works, and it works for me. So that's why I have that. And then I also have this Grace Designs Bix preamp, which is also something I really, really highly recommend for acoustic guitar. I was blown away with this thing. I used to not use one for many years. I would just have a tuner, a Boss EQ, and a Strymon Flint. But man, I tell you, when I got this Grace Design Bix, it just made such a huge difference in the plugged-in acoustic sound. It was just a night and day difference. It's basically like adding a mic preamp to a microphone. It really just warms up the tone, and this has kind of been my struggle with acoustic pickups for a very long time. Is I think that the acoustic pickups really changed the tone of the acoustic so much. It is nothing like the way it sounds when you're playing it just straight up acoustically. So those acoustic pickups need a lot of work. They need a lot of help. But I've got to say, it's the best plugged-in acoustic sound I've ever gotten. Is using that Grace Design preamp. And what is cool is that the thing already has a built-in DI, so you could just simply take an XLR cable and just plug it directly right into your Grace Design preamp, and you don't need to run a separate radio preamp or something like this. You just go direct right into the front of house or monitors, and it also has a built-in boost. So it's really cool because when you're going in for a lead or you're playing solo or something, you can simply preset up a boost, and it'll jump your level up for leads. And then from there, there's a 2-band EQ, so there's a bass and treble. I normally just leave it straight up at 12 o'clock. As long as you have a competent sound guy that really knows what the hell they're doing, you shouldn't have to EQ it very much. So you can just leave that at 12 o'clock, and then you just simply gain it to where you want it, and there's a little, readout that you can see. There's a little light that'll show you if you're clipping or not. So you just make sure that it's lighting up green, and it's not clipping. It will tell you when it is clipping. It'll light up red when you're adding too much gain to the signal. So it's very simple. It's very easy, and I absolutely love it, man. I think that has been the best plugged-in acoustic sound I've ever gotten. And again, I've always had such a hard time with acoustic pickups, man. They just don't sound good. It doesn't matter how much money you spend on a pickup for acoustic guitars. They always change the sound, and it's just something that has not been perfected as of yet. So, but that said, I think that the Grace Design preamp is absolutely amazing. So I would really, really recommend that. They ain't cheap, but man, they will definitely help your acoustic sound for sure. Let's see. We have Miss Devoting in the house. Hey, what's going on? Thanks so much for being here. She says here, hey, any thoughts on Ibanez PIA 3761C? I don't know what the hell that is. I know Ibanez, of course, but I don't not familiar with that model. Says here, I am just getting into playing, so I got a long road ahead, but it's one of my dream instruments. That and some Les Pauls. That's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah, I mean, it's all about whatever inspires you. If that's your dream instrument, you should try to make it happen. You should definitely get one. I mean, it's all about just the inspiration and just playing, man. I mean, it's just, if you have an Ibanez and that's your dream instrument and that's what you really like, that's awesome. There's nothing wrong with that. It's all about whatever inspires you to play and to pick up the instrument. You just gotta get playing. You gotta practice. You gotta just keep at it, and really stay with it. So, I mean, that's really what I would recommend. For me, I'm not the biggest Ibanez fan. I mean, I think if you're a shredder or if you're trying to do dive bombs and stuff like this on the Floyd Rose, the whammy bar, that's cool. But it's just not really my thing. It's not really what I go for. For me, I really like Gibson and Fender instruments. Just for the style that I play and the kind of tones that I go for. Those are just more of my favorite instruments, but it's all about what inspires you, once again. I mean, that's really what it's all about. So if you're into Ibanez's and, that's going to get you playing and that's going to keep you playing, then get that. And then she also says here, also thoughts on Les Pauls versus SGs. Good question. Yeah, I talked a little bit about this a little bit ago in today's live stream. But yeah, I kind of do this dance. I kind of go back and forth on what is my favorite instrument. I love Les Pauls, and they've always been my favorite since I was a kid. But as I've gotten older and I've gotten a lot more experience in the music business, there is just something about these SGs that I just absolutely love. And that is really the additional mid-range that you get from these SGs. Sometimes Les Pauls can get real boomy and have a lot of low end, which is a sound, and I do love that. I love the sound of a Les Paul, and there's no replacing a Les Paul. It's a very signature tone, but sometimes I really like that additional mid-range you get off of these SGs. It just gets this guitar to sit in a mix a lot better in comparison to a Les Paul. But it really just kind of depends on the music. It depends on the tone that I'm going for. If I'm playing some kind of a drop D riff or something, or some heavier music, a Les Paul is going to be a really good instrument for that kind of thing. I mean, in general, for rock music, for country, for whatever, I mean, for what they call country nowadays, a Les Paul is really going to work really well for that style of music. And again, there is no replacing a Les Paul, but I do love the added mid-range that you get from an SG. These are also much lighter, and I don't know. I kind of go back and forth on what is my favorite. I would say it's either a Les Paul or an SG. So that's why I have both. And I actually have 3 Les Pauls, and I have 3 SGs as well. I have this guitar, I have a 64 SG, and then I also have a Pelham Blue SG, which I've completely modified. And I've changed out all the parts to all 64 spec parts. And for my Les Pauls, I've also modified those as well. And it's really worked out great. So I love all these instruments, and that's why I have, 3 or 4 of each. So it's definitely a sickness. It never ends with this stuff, but it is a lot of fun. Let's see here. SIU says here, I have an old Pat Sticker T-top from around 69, 71-ish in my Les Paul, which I like quite a lot. Have you ever tried them? How do they compare to older PAFs? Thanks. Oh man, T-tops are absolutely amazing. I love those pickups. I absolutely love T-tops. I love patent numbers. I love T-tops. Of course, the short magnet PAFs I love. Again, with the long magnet PAFs, I talked a little bit about this earlier. The long magnet PAFs are kind of all over the place. There are some that sound very good, but there's a lot of them that do not sound good at all. And they have tons of low end, and they're way, way too hot. This is just my theory on this with these long magnet PAFs. I think back in the day, they were really trying to kind of figure out everything. They were still kind of experimenting with these pickups, from the 50s, these long magnet PAFs. They still really hadn't gotten it totally perfected yet, Fender or Gibson. But I think when Gibson goes to the short magnet PAFs in 61, I think they really got it. They really had it perfect, and they really started figuring it out, And so the short magnet PAFs are the same as the patent number pickups. It's just simply the sticker on the back of the pickups would be different. The sticker on the back would say, the patent number, or on the back for a PAF, it would say patent applied for on the back of the pickup. So, once again, I just think when they go to the short magnets, I think that it is absolutely the best. They've really, really got it together. And but that said, I love T-tops. I think T-tops are a little bit brighter in comparison to the patent numbers. I think the best pickup, the most consistent pickup I have ever heard, are the patent numbers and the short magnet PAFs. Again, those are my absolute favorite by far. But I love T-tops. I think they sound excellent. And like those late 60s Les Paul Customs, they have T-tops. The early 70s Les Pauls or 335s or whatever, they all have T-tops. I love the way that those sound. I just don't like with after 65 they go to the thin nut, the skinny nut there. That is just really hard for me to play. I don't like the way that feels at all. So for me, it's really all about pre-65 Gibsons and even Fender. With Fender I can go to 66, but 66 was a great year for Fender still, but 67 and 68 they start changing up stuff, and that's really where they start to go downhill. So, but great question. But once again, folks, thanks so much for being here. I really do appreciate it so much. This is just an amazing community. This is an amazing live stream here today. If you guys have any other questions for me, feel free to leave it there in the chat box. If you felt like you got something out of today's live stream and you'd like to contribute, there are several ways you can contribute here to me here on YouTube and on this channel. Check out all of the links that I have down below in the description box. There are many ways you can support me here. This is truly a donation of time here doing these live streams, and I don't make anything off of these live streams whatsoever. I truly do it out of the love and the passion of the music, and the love and the passion that I have for all the people that support me and that watch my videos. So, again, I really thank you guys so much for watching all this stuff. But, the reality is that I'm not making much of anything off of this channel. So if you guys would like to contribute, check out all of the links down below. If you want to throw a little love in the Venmo Tip Jar or the PayPal Tip Jar, or even a super chat here in today's live stream, once again, any and all support is really, really appreciated. Again, this is truly a donation of time. So if you feel like you got something out of today's live stream and you'd like to contribute, I really would appreciate that. But again, thanks so much for listening. I do also want to take the time to mention that I offer one-on-one online lessons. You're actually seeing and hearing the exact setup that I use for these online lessons. It's all shot on a 4K camera. It's all pro audio. And what's so cool with these lessons is that you'll actually get a recorded copy of the lesson itself at the very end, So you could just simply download the video and rewatch it as many times as you want. So for more information on this, hit me up at jkm4231@gmail.com. I'd be happy to get you down in the books today, and I'd be happy to get you some more information on this. Thanks so much once again for listening. Really do appreciate it. But let's see here. We've been going here for about an hour and 15 minutes now already. Man, this has been one hell of a live stream, man. This has just been amazing. A lot of talking on this live stream, so I got to keep hydrated. Man. But this has been so fun, man. Seriously, thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. We've had tons of engagement. If you are brand new here, come on back. You know, I do these live streams every Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Central Time. You know, I go live here as long as I'm here in Nashville. I do this every single week. So come on back every Sunday. I will be live 11:30 a.m. Central Time. And, you know, just bring your questions and come on and hang out, you know. This is always so much fun. I really do appreciate it, you know. These videos as of late have just been performing so well. It's just been absolutely incredible. I've just been getting thousands upon thousands of views. I just posted this short last night of me playing this guitar here. This, once again, if you are just joining me here, this is my 63 Les Paul technically, but it is really an SG as we know it. This guitar is just a motherfucker, man. It's just awesome. It's definitely a player. You know, I've had to do a couple things to this guitar. I had to have it refretted, which the fret job is just absolutely perfect. It feels amazing to play. The bridge pickup, I needed to get rewound because it was just really weak sounding, you know. I just didn't like the way that it sounded at all, and it just wasn't really working right. So I had it rewound, and it came out great. It was the exact output that I wanted, and it just sounds amazing now. So I'm really happy with that. And then this guitar had a set of Grovers on here, and I just simply took them off and put on the original Clousons. So the original Clouson Deluxes would be a double ring and a single line Clouson Deluxe tuner. So I just put this back on, and man, it just makes such a huge difference in the acoustic sound of this guitar. You know, Grover tuners just kill the tone acoustically. I just cannot stand those things. And man, this guitar has just come out so great. I just love it so much. It's definitely a player, like I'm saying, but man, it just looks and feels and sounds amazing. So really, really happy with this. But let's see here. Gregor says here, I love Gibson and Fender guitars as well, and Tellys too. I tried PRS guitar and wasn't too impressed with them. Yeah, you know, I love Gibson and Fender too. I think they're just the best sounding electric guitars of all time. PRSs just, in my opinion, just do not sound good, honestly. I think their craftsmanship is just really, really incredible. I mean, they make just amazing stuff. Beautiful stuff too. I mean, crazy flame tops, and I mean, just amazing craftsmanship. They really do make an amazing product, but they just don't sound good to me. I don't like the pickups. I just don't like the way they sound in general. They're very different sounding compared to a Gibson Les Paul or an SG or a 335 or something, and I just don't like the tone, you know. And the other thing is I don't like with PRS is that all of their instruments play and sound exactly the same. They are set up the exact same way. It does not matter what guitar you buy or what model you have. They all play the same. Every single one of them, which is really impressive, you know, for how many guitars that they make. It's pretty impressive to me that, you know, they can make these instruments that consistently, you know, where they all play and sound exactly the same. It's just incredible to me that they're able to do this, but I really don't like that because I like to be able to pick out my favorite Gibson. You know, if I play 15 different Les Pauls, they're all going to be a bit different, you know, and I like the chase. I like to be able to find the perfect one for me. Whereas, you know, with PRS, they all play exactly the same and they all don't sound good. You know, PRS really kind of reminds me of Mesa Boogie, honestly. Mesa Boogie builds such a beautiful product. I mean, you look inside those amplifiers, I mean, they are perfectly wired, you know. it's just so meticulously done. You know, they build such a quality product. But again, even with Mesa Boogie, I don't like the way that their stuff sounds, man. It just does not sound good to me. It's very different in comparison to a Fender amp or a Marshall or a Vox. And those are just my favorite amps ever. I think they sound much, much better. And, they're built well enough, Yeah, maybe they're not built as well as a Mesa Boogie or something, but they sound way better, in my opinion. So that's just my opinion. PRS just kind of reminds me of Mesa Boogie in a way, that it's very similar, that they build such a beautiful product, but none of them sound good, in my humble opinion. So there's that. But let's see here. About an hour and 20 minutes here, folks. I don't know how much longer I'm going to keep going for. If you guys have any other last-minute questions, I'd be happy to answer. I normally do this for about an hour or an hour and a half. And let's see here. We have a super chat here from Soft Southern Night. Thank you so much, bro. Seriously. God bless you, man. That's awesome. Says here, making the cabbage soup, man. That's awesome. Enjoy it, man. That sounds delicious, man. Awesome. I'm coming over. You're always up to something, man. You're always cooking up something, man. It's really cool. I think the last time you joined up here, you were making chicken or something, man. That's awesome. That's cool. I love barbecuing too, man. Actually, my dad used to compete on a team, and man, we would travel around and we would make ribs and chicken and just all this stuff, steak. I mean, all kinds of different stuff, and it's just awesome. I just love all that stuff, man. I normally go to a barbecue place here in Nashville actually after these live streams, because I love barbecue, man. I love all that stuff, and it just kind of makes me think of with you with cooking all this stuff. It just makes me think of all this stuff. With my dad, we used to cook all the time and compete, and I love eating, man, for sure. It's fun. Love cooking, love all that stuff. But let's see here. Soft Southern Night says here, Sunday, only day off. Wow, man. You're a working man for sure, man. That's a busy schedule, man. Sunday's your only day off, huh? Damn. Well, don't work too hard, man. But thank you again, seriously, so much for that super chat. I really do appreciate that. That's awesome. That really means the world to me. And I cannot do it without folks like yourself, I cannot continue on doing this without my supporters. So once again, if you guys feel like you got something out of today's live stream and you guys would like to support me, check out all of the links that I have down below in the description box. If you want to throw a little love in the Venmo tip jar or the PayPal tip jar or even a super chat here like Soft Southern Night did, I really would appreciate any and all support. This is truly a donation of time. I make absolutely nothing off of these live streams whatsoever. So it's really all about you guys, and again, I truly do need your support to continue on doing this. It really means the world to me, any and all support, seriously. So check out all of those links down below in the description box. I do want to mention my one-on-one online lessons once again. If you guys are interested in these lessons, hit me up. My email is jkm4231@gmail.com. I'd be happy to get you some more information on this, and I'd be happy to get you down the books today. I teach people from all over the world, and it's just amazing what this lesson program has turned into, and you're actually seeing and hearing the exact setup that I use for these online lessons. It's all shot on a 4K camera, and it's all pro audio. And again, what's so cool with these lessons is that you'll actually get a recorded copy of the lesson itself at the very end. So you can just simply download the video and rewatch it as many times as you want. So I feel that it's actually even better than taking an actual in-person lesson, because you can actually rewatch the video over and over and over, and you actually have a recorded copy of the lesson itself. So you could always go back and rewatch it. So again, for more information on this, hit me up at jkm4231@gmail.com. Thanks so much for listening. But anyways, folks, let's see here. About an hour and 24 minutes here now. So I think I'm going to sign off here for today, folks. Once again, thank you so much for joining me here. It really means the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching all my videos. It really means the world to me again, and I cannot do this without your support. So if you would like to contribute, once again, check out those links down below in the description box. just hanging out here in Nashville with my 63 Les Paul SG as we know it. And I'm really happy with how this guitar came out, man. It's just a badass guitar. It feels great. It's definitely a player, but I'm going to definitely be taking this thing out and really enjoying the hell out of it. So thanks so much for checking out this guitar with me and hanging out here in today's live stream. Once again, really do appreciate it. Stay tuned. I have a bunch more videos coming out soon. And come on back and join me next Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Central Time. I will be back here live once again on YouTube. So come on back, bring your questions, and hang out for a while. Thanks so much for joining me here in today's live stream. I really do appreciate it. We'll see y'all next time. Take care.